Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Let's pull you in a little bit here. So, about a month ago I did a video asking if anyone had any questions for me, a Q&A, and I would answer everyone's questions. So I'm a little late to respond to this, but I wanted to make a video answering everyone's questions in the comments. Thank you everyone for leaving them. I had some pretty cool questions. I just skimmed them. I didn't really read them. So these are all off-the-cuff answers. I didn't prepare anything or write down notes or anything. So bear with me if I seem a little, in thought at points. So I'm going in order from the top to the bottom here. The first question from Bola Matt 23. Top 3 movies ever and top 3 games ever. This is really difficult for me. Top 3 movies. I can narrow it down to like a top 5 or 6. So I have to just pick 3 out of that. I would say The Road Warrior, which is Mad Max 2. Brazil from Terry Gilliam. He also did Zero Theorem, which I love. And The Lost Boys. Those are 3 of my favorite films, hands down. Those are easy to pick. Game-wise, it's a little more difficult because I kind of have favorite games for each generation. That's really hard to do. Geez. Dark Souls, the series, I like 1, 2, and 3 a lot. Earthbound, Final Fantasy VI, Chrono Trigger. I haven't played those in a long time though. Deadly Premonition, The Darkness is one of my favorite games. The second one was very good too. Wirehead, Double Switch, Night Trap. I have a lot of favorite games. It depends on the system, the generation, what I'm in the mood to play. Right now I'm playing Dead by Daylight, which I think is really fun. I've really gotten into that. So it just kind of depends. Let's see here. My buddy Carter from Carter's Retro Reviews. I have a few questions. What is your favorite Sega CD game ever? Snatcher's really great, and Wirehead. Popful Mail's really good, but I've never gotten far in it. I've only played like the first level. I think it's a great game, but I've just never gotten far in it. And now that I lack time, I don't really, sometimes with old-fashioned mechanics, it's kind of hard to get into a game. Most underrated Sega CD game would be Wirehead. I think that people just throw it away as like full motion video garbage, that there's not that much interaction, when in that game they really did a lot of different paths you can take in like a choose your own adventure type of way. Number 3, Why Won't You Let Me Love You? Because I'm married now. Second favorite console, I assume Sega CD is the first. If not, what is your favorite? Sega CD has always been my favorite for nostalgia, and back when I got into it, I had seen nothing like it in terms of full motion video, which I really loved. I still love it. It still holds a special place for me. Compared to games now, it hasn't aged particularly well. There's nothing like it, and I'm very nostalgic for it. But I also love the Dreamcast a lot. I think that's probably stood the test of time the most. 3DO is really great. I have a Neo Geo X just to have a Neo Geo fix, and that's awesome. Yeah, those are some of my favorites. My favorite handheld is the Neo Geo Pocket Color. I have that. Number 5, What is Love? Baby, Don't Hurt Me. Number 6, is there a chance the track could bend? The track could bend. I don't know what that's from. I'm sorry. Number 7, What About Us Brain Dead Slobs? I don't know if this is a movie reference, but I'm not getting it. And number 8, Were You Sent Here by the Devil? Thank you. Perhaps. Okay. Sega of My House, my buddy Anthony. Do the carpets match the drapes? The carpets? That's drapes. Usually you hear this about women, so... Don't everyone's? I mean, your eyebrow color matches your pubes. Am I wrong? Maybe I'm wrong. Nick T. Wolf, my buddy Nick, what got you into horror movies? As a kid, I was really creeped out by The Exorcist. As I got older, I really started appreciating them. And Beth is really into them too, so we've watched a lot over the past few years. I don't know, I think I like the whole chase type of thing. I think that some of the characters are really interesting. Sometimes the characters are better than the actual movie itself, if that makes sense. And Yeah, recently it's been Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've always loved Hellraiser, Jason and Friday the 13th and Freddy and all that. I've always liked all those. So Pumpkinhead is awesome too. I can't say there's something specific, but you know, the movies are intriguing and there's always something kind of different about them. I like when there's a twist or some kind of thriller stuff mixed in as well. Professor Peculiar, my buddy Seamus from Ireland. That's not really his name. I just make fun of him. Who's your favorite comedian? Mine is the great Bill Burr. Bill Burr is very funny. I'm not a big comedian person. I've always really liked, and I know this is going to get a lot of hate, Carlos Mencia. He kind of always called it as he saw it. I know people say he stole jokes from George Lopez, who I don't find funny at all. But I always thought Carlos Mencia really hit it home in terms of schools like lowering the standard, the country. He made fun of everyone and everything. He was very no holds barred, and I really like Carlos Mencia. So he's up there for me. Although I'm not a big like comedian watcher. Daniel Tosh is pretty funny, and I like. I've always liked Louis Anderson. I've seen Henry Rollins a couple times. He's not really comedian as much as he is like spoken word. I don't agree with his politics at all, but I find him to be interesting and funny usually. Comedian. I think that's all I can think of off the top of my head. My buddy Brad, Pro B-Man 5. Do you watch any anime? Not really. I like some of it. You know, my favorites are probably like Vampire Hunter D, Akira, Ghost in the Shell, Ninja Scroll. I like the classics. What's that one? Cyber City's pretty good. I think it's Cyber City. There's some numbers after it. I like cyberpunk stuff when it comes to anime. I thought Berserk was pretty good from watching that years ago, and I remember Hellsing being decent, but I don't really remember it well. Number 2, what are the best science fiction movies in your opinion? Geez, I like The Matrix. I guess you would consider The Road Warrior science fiction. The Lost Boys really isn't science fiction. Zero Theorem, Brazil. Avalon is really good. I know I've spoken about that before. My favorite cyberpunk movie is Nirvana with Christopher Lambert. I think that's a really under-the-radar, interesting, cool film. If you can see it, though, I would recommend the Italian version with subtitles because it's got a better soundtrack. Like, it's in better areas, I think, of the movie, and they've expanded it to make a little more sense. Number 3, if you could have any superpower, what would it be and why? I would probably do something simple like super strength, or maybe healing people with touch. That seems pretty cool. I'd probably do some good deeds, healing people with, you know, illnesses and cancer and whatever else. Number 4, do you feel YouTube has gone up or down in terms of quality content that has substance and thought, or just Jodgin? He must have meant something else here. Talking with no thought at all. I don't know what he means by Jodgin, but maybe that's some kind of Boston term, I don't know. I still tend to watch the people that are more low-key like myself. I like the high production value videos as well, but I don't watch them a lot because I feel like a lot of them are like machines just churning out stuff. I know recently a lot of my videos got demonetized for them thinking that an ad wouldn't be like worthy to be on my video because it's like a messed up video, when all it is me talking about a movie in front of the camera like this. So I think that's definitely I don't know, I think the YouTube bubble's gonna burst. I think that to have this as a career is very difficult. I don't know how people do it. I've said that in the past. It's not that I don't consider it a real job, I just don't I don't see people making a living out of it. It's not stable. As a side thing or a side job, or in my case for a hobby, it's great. But if you're not PewDiePie or something, or some huge YouTuber, it seems kind of, you got to go with all the trends and, you know, follow all like the stupid stories and review and buy every game that comes out and then get in the middle of like drama and shit. It's just too much. I don't like that you can't really tag people in videos and stuff anymore. I was a big proponent of tagging people and doing community questions, which I still do from time to time. So people like Sandom Todd and, you know, Sega of My House, the lower key people, I like watching them a lot. I feel like it's kind of bullshitting with a friend or watching them talk, or, you know, catching up with them, so I enjoy those. Hopefully most people stay around. Stella, I don't know if everyone remembers my wonderful cat who passed away a couple years ago. She was awesome. She used to come and scream in the middle of my videos, but sadly she no longer does, because she's passed away, as I said. Let's see here. Number 5, also from Pro B-Man 5. What are some goals you have in life that you are trying to achieve over time, and how do you plan to make them a reality? I always thought of kind of doing something on the side for my job, so I don't have to rely on my job as much. I'm just not sure what that is. I'd like to find something that I can either do from home or something that won't take up so much time that, you know, I can still work my 9 to 5. That's tough. I mean, that would probably be it, I would say. You know, in the near future, we're talking about kids, so that's a goal. It's a scary goal because I never knew if I'd have children, or never thought I would have children. But now I would like one. Beth wants 2, but we'll see. And now the next set of questions, my buddy Ballin' Nick, 1982. What are a few video game series that you think are overrated? I would say Halo is pretty overrated. There's definitely some more. Hold on. A lot of like the Call of Duty type of games. I thought Battlefield was pretty good, but I wouldn't say it's like the most amazing thing ever. Probably the sports games that come out every year. Overrated. Gears of War could be a little overrated. I do enjoy it, but I think that I do like excuse me, I do like, I'm getting over a cold. I do like mindless games sometimes that you just run around and shoot things, so I get it, but I also think that can be slightly overrated. Overrated. That's tough. I don't know. I mean, I try not to go for the ones I just don't find interesting. I try to play more of the unique games or things I can play with my friends because I don't see them that often. Number 2 from Ballin' Nick, 1982. What are a few of your favorite horror movies? Good question. Pumpkinhead, The Exorcist 1 and 3, Jacob's Ladder. I'd say the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series is up there now for me, that I've gotten into it. The Hellraiser series. There's another one. Maybe I was thinking of Pumpkinhead. Yeah, those are up there for me. I think that's a few of the main ones that I really love. Jacob's Ladder is definitely up there for me. Number 3, would you ever explore an abandoned mental ward? We actually have one about an hour away. I don't think so. It's you know, you walk in, I'm assuming you creep yourself out after a while and start screaming. And this one has, like, you know, glass and graffiti and crap everywhere that you probably get hurt. I don't know, it's interesting. My dad watches all those TV shows where the people do that with, like, ghost hunters and crap. Maybe with the right group of people, you know. I wouldn't go there with my wife because I wouldn't want to put her in any sense of danger, or like if she got hurt or fell or something. But I would probably go by myself with friends, not by myself, but with friends as opposed to her before I took her along. Thank you, Nick. Professor Peculiar again. 3rd question, do you prefer Lord of the Rings or Star Wars? I used to prefer Lord of the Rings, but now I prefer Star Wars. Also, what is your favorite character from each? Mine is Darth Maul. And from Lord of the Rings, Tis Boromir. Also, a fun fact, Christopher Lee was in both Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. I didn't know that. I'm not a big fan of either. I would say Lord of the Rings, only because I've seen all of those. I've only seen the first Star Wars. The original first Star Wars. That's what's overrated to me. I think Star Wars is overrated, I'm sorry. There goes 100 subscribers right there. I don't like the characters. I don't... like the whole space opera thing isn't really my bag usually. I like grittier, I like post-apocalyptic, I like sci-fi with like cyberpunk. I like violence. I don't know, I just never got into Star Wars. I watched it once when I was a little older, probably in my mid-20s, I couldn't get into it. I watched all the Lord of the Rings movies besides the Hobbit stuff, just the original trilogy. It was cool, it kept my interest, it's way too long. When it gets into medieval type stuff, it has to be really dark for me to like it, which is why I like Dark Souls, because it has that sort of evil element to it. Not really a fan of either, I'm sorry. I know that's probably not what you wanted to hear. I love the Road Warrior, Mad Max, I love the Mate. Excuse me. Looking around my room because I have posters of movie posters, so I'm trying to jog my memory of things I really like. I love Johnny Mnemonic, that's another favorite cyberpunk movie. The Warriors is one of my favorite films, but that's not really sci-fi, just kind of goofy gang stuff. Darth Sarkon, are you a fan of the Islanders? The Islanders is a local hockey team. Well, not local, they're national, but they're here. No, I don't watch hockey. My brother was a big Rangers fan forever, still is. I only would watch it when he was over with him just to hang out with him, but I don't know anything about hockey. I just remember a couple names like Wayne Gretzky and Jeff Bukaboom and Mark Messier. I don't remember much else, so no, sorry. I know this probably isn't the best Q&A, huh? Question 2, so I guess these are out of order. Professor Peculiar, question 2. How do you decide which console to collect for at a specific time? I have a method where each month I pick a console, complete random, and I collect for that console for the month exclusively. If I see a rare game or an offer I can't refuse. This month I'm collecting for PlayStation 3. Yesterday's spoils were Dead Space 1, good game. Dragon Age Origins, God of War, Ascension, Lego Star Wars Complete, and Prototype, and last month was PS2. I don't do as much as collecting as I used to. I do like collecting for the Neo Geo Pocket Color, the 3DO, the Dreamcast, some of the older stuff that's kind of harder to come by. If I see it, no matter what it is, I'll usually buy it, as long as I'm missing it, or if I feel I can resell it or give it to a friend. In terms of newer stuff, I try not to collect too much. I have a slightly small apartment. I mean, it's decent size, but not huge, and I don't want to keep cluttering it with stuff. So I've kind of waned away from collecting, and it's gotten more into gaming, really. Though I will do a pickups video on occasion. Oh, I always do that. Okay. Death Adder. How big is Batista's dick? So this question comes from all the shoot interviews that are done. A lot of them are on YouTube now in pieces. They ask every wrestler, how big is Batista's dick? I don't know. He's probably, what, Italian, and is he Portuguese? He's probably alright. I don't know. But do you know? AJ and Travis. One more question I wanted to add to the other. What's the worst game you've ever finished and regretted? Ever finished and regretted? What is the worst game? I don't know. If it's that bad, I really won't finish it. You know, I won't play it. I'll just stop after a while. Worst game I ever finished. One of the worst games I ever played was Shadow War of Succession on the 3DO. That game is bad. And I don't usually say that. I like bad games. I like when a game has, you know, low production value and it's cheesy or funny with its bugs. Excuse me, not that one. That one's just bad. Check that out on YouTube. I have a video on it. And I'm assuming the next question is from AJ as well. Yes, it is. Mike, if you had to choose one system and its whole library of games to play, but there's no internet, which would you choose? You cannot play any other system for 5 years. Great job on your subscribers, bro. Thank you. I would say the Dreamcast, I think. I think the Dreamcast probably has the best library with the most diverse games. The PlayStation 2 is probably up there as well, but I don't think graphically it aged as well. Especially with the VGA cable and all this stuff on the Dreamcast. I think you can play an RPG, you can play fighting, you can play shooting. There's a lot of good games on the Dreamcast. It's probably the best rounded system for me. Liberal Decay, my buddy Chris. Christ. Plus 10. Top 3 most hilarious YouTubers. If you mean like comedian-wise, I don't really watch stuff like that. I find political YouTubers who say things that are outlandish kind of funny. Trying to think here. Alright, I gotta pause this for a moment because the tortoise is bashing into the glass over and over and making a loud noise. Hold on one moment, please. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Mario was making a lot of noise. So the other kind of YouTubers I find funny, which I think is probably bad on my part. It doesn't reflect well. The Del Rey Misfits, people who have like issues and put crazy stuff on YouTube. If you watch the Del Rey Misfits, they have a guy who has autism who does really silly stuff, says really silly stuff. He trains a lot and tries to enter bodybuilding competitions, and he's just really not that good. I'm not judging because he to me, sometimes he looks pretty good. He looks better than me. I train a few days a week, so I'm not Lou Ferrigno here. But they have this other guy with this big distended belly. He looks like those Biafran children, and there's like veins in it, and they said it was like GH belly from steroids, from growth hormone. Then other people said it wasn't from that. He just looks really ill, and he says crazy stuff about like trannies and shitting, and his house is like disgusting. Stuff like that I find funny. It's almost like a car crash you can't look away from. I know that's kind of a negative thing to be like that, but some of that stuff I find really amusing. I like brash and goofy humor most of the time. Like my friends, like Carter's Retro Reviews, like he'll throw a little joke in there, I laugh. Or Mastercast TV, my buddy Andy. So I said Andy, not AJ, you see. So yeah, it just really depends. I don't really watch like comedic YouTube channels, I would say. But those are like the YouTubers I find kind of funny. Chris Chan is a chain wreck and a half. I mean, a train wreck, not a chain. Train wreck and a half. I don't, that goes from funny to like depressing very quickly for me. LFC Gamer, what is your favorite Nintendo console? Probably the Super Nintendo. I thought it had a great selection of games, lots of awesome RPGs, good fighters. That was a really good time for gaming with the Super Nintendo and the Genesis. What is the worst game you've ever played? I'm trying to think of anything I purchased recently that I returned because it was that bad. Deformers was pretty bad. The GameStop exclusive with the balls that looked like sushi and cats and dogs. That was pretty bad. I don't know, as a kid there was games that were just very difficult, so I can't say they were bad games, they just happened to be difficult games. Like Jekyll and Hyde and the Terminator, and not the Terminator, Total Recall, and you know, other games that the AVGN is made fun of probably. Question 3, what are some of your pet peeves with YouTube? I guess, like I said earlier, sometimes when people try to stay ahead of that curve and keep doing the most recent, the most relevant, it's kind of, I don't care. I'm not a big fan of Let's Plays. It's very rare I watch a Let's Play. The only ones I've watched really are from close friends, or like, there's this guy, is it 123 Patsu, or Patsu 123, P-A-Z-U, kind of like Pazuzu from The Exorcist without the end part. He does good Let's Plays. I watch him every so often, but I'm not a big Let's Play fan. So when you get like a feed, your feed is full of like Let's Plays, part 1, part 2, it's like, that's kind of annoying to me. I also don't like people get so political and nasty and negative comments. People are just such fucking keyboard warriors now, where they go online and just write like really nasty shit that they wouldn't even dream of saying to someone's face, because they're probably like home, like fat and sweaty, living in their mom's basement, like jerking off and like, you know, with no life, but they sit there and tell you to go fuck yourself. So it's like, please. So those are my pet peeves, I would say. D-Tech, from Xbox, I remember you now. Why haven't you given the PlayStation 4 a chance? Do you feel like you're missing out? I usually stick with one console for the generation, so I've always been an Xbox guy because I like the online services a lot. Even though I know PlayStation has come a long way and does very well now. Yes, I do feel like I'm missing out, because they got Shenmue 3 they're getting. Tortoise just bit my toe. Mario, come on now. What are you doing, buddy? Go over there. Either that or he was sniffing me. I don't know, but I don't want a chunk taken out of my toe. That was good. I couldn't even have planned that if I wanted to. King of Fighters, Shenmue 3, all the Quantic Dream? All the Quantic Dream games, like Beyond Two Souls on PS3, like I missed out on those. I've always really liked Omicron, the Nomad Soul. So like, Any game they create, I feel like I'm missing out on, and they have an exclusivity with Sony. Fire Pro Wrestling, oh, that one hit hard. When that came out, I was like, oh, this sucks. And Bloodborne, I would totally play Bloodborne because I got to Dark Souls now. So those are the ones I feel like I'm missing out on. This generation, I probably should have went with the PlayStation, but what are you going to do? All my friends are Xbox guys too, so. Thank you for the question, that was pretty good. Shenmuso, a skill you have that we might not know about. Geez, I used to repair computers for a living and do it on the side. Very briefly, I learned how to tattoo, so if you throw something in my hand, I can probably do like a couple lines, but not saying they'll come out straight. I could set up a machine for you in a work area in a tattoo shop. Maybe that's it. Number 2, most embarrassed you've ever been for someone else. I don't know. Usually if someone has something really bad happen to them, or I try to help them. It's not like, you know, if someone's crying or very upset or something, like they fall, I try to help them. In terms of embarrassing, I can't really think of any, honestly. Oh, okay, a friend of mine years ago, this was stupid. We went behind a grocery store and everyone was drinking. Not me, because I really don't drink. It's very rare if I have a drink. And he got drunk, and this girl he met, like, kind of at the grocery store. She was with her friends too, drinking. This is what they do on Long Island, I guess. They hang out behind grocery stores and drink. And she put on his leather jacket and went in the woods, and she pissed all over it when she went to go pee. That was kind of embarrassing for him, but it was pretty funny. Number 3 from Shenmusa, do you think you might get virtual reality? Funny, my friend Brian has it, and he's got like 7 games or 8 games where he's got a good amount. I want to try it, but I tend to get motion sick. And I'm not a big virtual reality guy. I think like it wouldn't really do it for me. So I don't see myself investing in it, but I definitely find it interesting to hear people's opinions. I've watched some of your videos on it. So yeah, that's kind of where I stand. I don't see myself getting it, but I sort of see it as a fad, but it's still interesting. Sort of like the Virtual Boy. It's interesting, even though I know it didn't do super well. Vincent Marandola, your videos are really good. Thank you. Wow, he asked a question. Vincent never asks questions. He just says, nice. On every video. Hello, Vincent. Which year did you start YouTube? I think it was 2009. No. It's got to be about 5 years now. So maybe it's 2011 or 12. Probably around there. Shane S., which Dark Souls boss did you struggle with the most? The Dancer was pretty hard in Dark Souls 3. In Dark Souls 2, oh, the Pursuer. He's optional, but my god, he was annoying. And he chases you around the whole game. Oh my god, he was friggin' annoying. Dark Souls 1... Did I have any problems? I think in Dark Souls 1, I beat him on like the 2nd or 3rd try, but I could tell he was annoying. Because you can only kind of beat him one way. What's his name? The Stray Demon, when you go back into the asylum, and you break through the ground and you fall down, and he like kills you in like 2 hits. He was annoying. I beat him, but he was annoying. Lawrence Evans asks, are you a Metroid fan? And if you are you planning on getting Metroid Samus Returns? Is that a Switch game? I don't have a Switch. I'm not really a Metroid fan, though I have gotten into platformers and those types of games recently again, with Shovel Knight, the remake of DuckTales, Shantae Half Genie Hero. So it's not out of the realm that I would play something like that. I was looking forward to Axiom Verge, but I'm not sure if it's getting a physical release on Wii U now. How many hours do you spend playing video games a day? Usually I would say maybe 4 hours a week. I work, and I'm married now, and hey, Mario came back in the room. I work out a few days a week. I, go to spend time with my wife to go out and do things, and so it's rare, but I would say probably the weekends, like Friday night, Saturday night, I'll play a couple hours. Unless I'm off from work, I don't usually play video games a lot. What's your favorite video game character? Ooh. I really like Jackie Estacado from The Darkness, but he's really based off the comic book. But I liked him a lot. I felt like I had some slight relation to him in terms of his personality or his, I don't know, sadness in a way. I really like Francis York Morgan, or Francis Zach Morgan, in Deadly Premonition. I thought he was an interesting. Who else did I like? I like some of the characters from Earthbound and Chrono Trigger, you know. Thought they were cool. Mario's leaving again. I like Toad from the Nintendo games. I don't know why. And I like Wario. I think he's a cool character that's underutilized. So, bonus. Why are you called Vampire Mike? Thank you for all the great videos. I remember watching your Wii U pickups video. It sucks the Wii U had to end. Yeah, it's true. It's a really great system. Definitely. Thank you very much, by the way, Lawrence. So I've said this before, but it always comes up, so I don't mind talking about it. I've been going to my friend's tattoo shop since I was 17 when I went there, but I couldn't get tattooed, obviously. So I went back when I was 18, which is the legal age of consent in New York. And I would come by, you know, fairly regularly and bring coffee or whatever, and I would call ahead of time and say, I'm getting coffee, who wants? And they would say, oh, Mike's getting coffee, who wants coffee, what do you want, how do you take it, whatever. And they would go, Mike who? Vampire Mike. Because I have a couple vampire girls tattooed on me. They know I'm into vampire movies like The Lost Boys and Near Dark and Nosferatu, and I'll watch any vampire movie really, but The Addiction by Abel Ferrara. So that's how the name came to be. And I think when I was online, I typed it in with an I, and it was either taken or some person on the internet was using something like that. So I changed it to a Y, and there was a guy that was using it, and he was a poet, but he died. So I figured, mine now. So Vampire Mike with a Y in the word vampire, and I think it's more of an old-fashioned way of spelling it anyhow. So that's how Vampire Mike came to be. Some people, you know, call me that when they see me, which is funny, but I don't really run into people who know me from YouTube too often. It's usually a mixture of they know me personally, but YouTube as well. Okay, I got a question from Saltine. Hello Vampire Mike, my questions involve how your moods may affect your gaming habits. What type of games do you tend to play when you're depressed? If I'm depressed, I probably will look to play a game online with friends, to have fun and goof off and talk. Something like Dead by Daylight, Friday the 13th, Overwatch, something quick that sort of keeps me going. What type of games do you play when you're happy? This sounds funny, but I would say something like Dark Souls, because it takes something out of you when a game is difficult or has a challenge. So you have to be in a good mood and kind of be able to let things go quickly if you die over and over. What type of games do you tend to play when you're angry or stressed? I don't usually play games when I'm angry. I will maybe with friends again, but for the most part, if I'm in like a really bad mood, I have to decompress. I don't like playing games when I'm stressed or tired or anything like that. But good questions. All right, Krusty the Clown. Who is your favorite pro wrestler of all time and current day? My favorite wrestler was always Raven. Big fan of him in ECW, and I met him. Hey Mario, you came back. Nice guy. Big fan of RVD, Sabu, a lot of the ECW originals, but Raven was always my top. Vampiro. Right now, I really like Kenny Omega. I love Shinsuke Nakamura, however, they really watered him down in WWE, which I've mentioned. I like Michael Elgin a lot, but Kenny Omega takes the cake. He's really good. I really like Kenny Omega. I hope he doesn't go to WWE because I think they'll ruin him. In terms of female wrestlers, oh, but still my heart, Charlotte Flair. I also like this independent wrestler who I've met or seen perform once or twice. Oh crap. She's Dominican. What's her name? It'll come to me. I can't think of her name. She was just on WWE for some kind of Mae Young event. Her name's escaping me. He also asked, where did you meet Beth and where did you guys go on your first date? We went to a Mexican restaurant on our first date because she likes Mexican food, as do I, but it's her favorite. Met through mutual friends. Is that it? Where did you meet? And where did you guys go? Yep. What is your favorite tattoo? I like the gorilla on my chest a lot. I have a big gorilla on my chest for Planet of the Apes because that's one of my favorite films. See? Should have put that in the other question. Or answer. I have that on my chest, a big gorilla, big face. I like my boar a lot on my arm. I have a tattoo from The Darkness, one of the Darklings under my arm. I have a lot of favorite tattoos, really. Excuse me a moment. What are you biting? What are you biting? Excuse me. He wasn't biting anything. He's a little special, so he was under a chair, clunking into it over and over, and not realizing his shell couldn't get past the chair. So, 9/11 Gamer, what are your thoughts on parents allowing their underage children to play games such as GTA and Saints Row? When I was younger, and this is usually how most people are, I think, you tend to be more liberal with your views. As you get older, you become a little more conservative. At least that's how I've seen most people, not all. I would never let my kids play something like that. I think parents have to put their feet down more often with their kids. I was in GameStop yesterday visiting my buddy, and they had these two kids cursing like crazy. I mean, not even just like shit. Like, motherfucking beat you, going on and on, loud, playing, I think, the Wii U or the Switch. I would have fucking slapped the shit out of those kids if they were mine. Right in the back of the head. Just stuff like that gets to me. I think parents really have to put their foot down. I think it's bullshit that parents get in trouble for, like, reprimanding their children. You know, that's why everyone's all fucked up, because everyone was coddled and nobody wants to, like, you know, take responsibility for the kids and just let them run wild because they're the greatest thing ever. Mr. Tuco 40. How many copies of Hillary Clinton's new book will you be buying to hand out to your friends and family? This is an inside joke, because with my politics, I'm not a fan of Hillary Clinton at all. At all. And he knows that, so he always teases me, so we go back and forth. So I'm going to buy one and mail it to you. Audio XVNVX. Have you ever played Rise of the Dragon for Sega CD? If so, what are your thoughts? That's also one of my favorite Sega CD games. It's awesome. It's great on the PC, it's great on Sega CD. I prefer the Sega CD version. I beat it a few times. As long as you know what you're doing, you can beat it pretty easily. Even though some of the shooting scenes are a little hard. Because the game does like a first-person point and click, but then it goes into a side-scrolling shooter, and there's also like almost like Mad Dog McCree, but without the movement, like first-person shooting. So it changes it up on you, but that's a great game. I have a lot of nostalgia for that one. Ian Kinsella, I was asking you last time, do you play Call of Duty? You said no, not this year. Please play Call of Duty World at War II. Like dropped, as always, a good video. Thank you, Ian. You're a very nice person. I appreciate you watching. I'm still not the really biggest Call of Duty fan. I'm not big into military shooters. I like when they're weird, like Battleborn was pretty good, Overwatch, or if there's something different about them, like you know, like Dead by Daylight, where like there's a horror theme to it. I don't just like oh, it's military. So they're okay, but they're not my favorite. The Bad Company Gaming. Have you ever thought about joining in on Tight White, CM Retro, or Chasing the Classics live stream? We all hang out on Google Hangouts, live stream and talk. I would love to do more stuff like that with YouTubers, to branch out and meet new friends, but I find it very time consuming. So that's the problem for me, that I don't do streams. William Armstrong. What is your favorite classic PC game? Ooh, I really loved, as a kid I loved Diablo 2 a lot, but also really I would say Omicron is very good, that's also on the Dreamcast. Blood, the first Blood, so many hours with that, very underrated, funny first person shooter with lots of Easter eggs and humor. It's a great game. So Blood is up there for me. I'm trying to think of my Duke Nukem 3D. I always wanted to get into Anachronics. I never got far. Same thing with Septerra Core. I have it. Shadowrun Returns was a really good PC game, but that's not really classic. Quake 1 and 2. Phantasmagoria 2. Good games, really cool. So those are probably my favorites. Let's see here. Professor Peculiar, what's the meaning of life? To procreate and make the best of life and be happy and surround yourself with positive people. But overall, the main thing is to procreate and continue the race. That's probably it. But the other parts are fun too. Practicing procreating is fun. And he wrote, just joking around. So first question, have you or are you currently doing any martial arts or self-defense? I'm doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which I love, and I do a little MMA sometimes, as well as crazy on the punching bag. Cordially, Professor Seamus Peculiar Esquire. I'm always calling him some Irish name, like some stereotypical Irish name, because he's from Ireland and I don't recall his first name off the top of my head. So no, I've never done MMA or anything like that, or any martial arts. I did a couple boxing lessons in some really horrible school once in the middle of the ghetto, but I never, and it was like not like a school, it was an actual school that this guy would have like kids come after school to stay out of trouble and do boxing lessons. I would do it though. I think it's interesting. I think it's very cool. I'm, 33 now, so my joints and shit hurt sometimes, but overall I'd say I'm in okay shape. I'm better than your average bear, shape-wise, but I'm not, again, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or anything. I don't take anything, I'm not on anything, I don't work out 5-6 days a week, so I'm not, I don't do any crunches or anything either, so my stomach looks like, a normal stomach. I don't have a six-pack. I'd rather focus on other body parts, to be honest. Last question. NT Mega, what's better, the Wonder Mega 2 or the XI? I know what the Wonder Mega is, and I thought that was a variation of the XI in Japan. I don't recall the difference, and I don't recall the Wonder Mega 2. I always thought that the systems were both really interesting. I don't know enough about them, to be completely honest. Since this video is a little shorter than I wanted it to be, I'll throw out some random facts about myself, and I've said these before. A big Guy Ritchie fan. I like the movies Snatch and Revolver. Big Terry Gilliam fan. I love Brazil and Zero Theorem, as I said, but I also love 12 Monkeys, and Tideland was pretty good, and The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus. All of his movies with imagination, they all have imagination, and I really like that. I like imagination in things. One of my favorite actors is Peter Stormare. He's the guy from Fargo, 8mm, he was Dino Velvet. The Brothers Grimm, he was the devil in Constantine. He's a great actor. What else? Jake LaMotta died recently, and I have 2 of his autographs right here. I really like Tommy Wiseau from The Room. I'm hoping I can meet him one day, get maybe another autograph, and screen his movie or whatever. I've seen it. I'm really looking forward to Best Friends that he's in with Greg Sestero, and The Disaster Artist. I don't like Seth Rogen and James Franco as people, from what I know of them, so I will most likely not support their film, but I do want to see it. Some of my favorite bands are In Excess, Sade, God Lives Underwater, Hypocrisy, Pain, The Sisters of Mercy, Suicidal Tendencies. I would probably put Godflesh in there. Depeche Mode and Tears for Fears. Vader is really good. I like Vader a lot. That's a great metal band. Peter Taggart from Hypocrisy. Anything he touches is good too. I like cheesy movies. I like goofiness. I rewatched Texas Chainsaw 2 recently, and I appreciated it way more because I like the goofiness. I watched it both times recently, but initially I was thrown off because it went from horror to silly, but now I like it. Same thing with Next Generation. So yeah, there's a little more information about myself. Thank you to everyone for asking all these great questions. I apologize that some of them aren't as in-depth as you probably would have liked, but I'm just being honest with, not liking Star Wars or whatever. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks guys for watching. See you again soon. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.